Hello, hello. Today we have another YouTuber collaboration, this time between Heather Austin and Adept Cosmetics. I picked this up about a year ago, back in 2024. I think it was during Black Friday. Might have actually been earlier. It might have been Black Friday 2023, actually. And I picked this up because when I saw the colors, it reminded me of fall. And when I look at these colors, it actually reminds me of the matte shades, at least. It kind of looks like the matte shades that Ali Dawson picked up for her collab with Ofra Cosmetics. But let's talk about Heather Austin's. I am not a viewer or audience for Heather Austin's channel. I know she comes up a lot when I am watching reviews for other channels. So I don't want to, I don't think there's much of a bias there. But this is the palette. It came in kind of like, I think similar to how Huda Beauty does their palettes. Like it's all like just wrapped up. And if I'm recalling correctly, this came in its own little kind of, not in its own, because there's no outside packaging for this. There's no slip. There's no box. Like it pretty much just came like this, lined in the styrofoam, lined with wrapping and bubble wrap and packaging, and all that cardboard and stuff. Like it just pretty much all came like this, and you pop it out of there. And this is just the palette. There's nothing else from this. It was wrapped very well though, very well. And I still have everything on here just so you can see the way that it pretty much arrives. You pop it out of that, like, it might have been styrofoam or some sort of squishy mesh material, and it's gonna come out like this. And you can see here, like, that's all the information you pretty much get. I don't think it came in any other box with like ingredients or anything like that. You'd have to look online. Like, this is it. Like, I wish they came with boxes. I don't think they do, because this is not the only Adept palette I have left to review. I have like 2 other Adept palettes I have not reviewed, and they're also in this naked form. But not everything needs the packaging, and I guess they save a lot from not needing the packaging, but also they still package this really well with a bunch of mesh and paper and cardboard, so that's still, I don't know how much money they're saving from it. But here we go. I'm going to now take this off live. Let's see if we can. It's actually on there pretty good, better than the other one. So nice. So we removed this sticky on the back. It just says distributed by Adept Cosmetics. And we have this really pretty, like this kind of like shiny faux leather kind of feel. It definitely feels very Heather. There's something very like, when I think of Heather, she's from like Texas, I think, right? She's like Texas, and I think of her as very like tall and tan, and like with these beautiful, these like bright eyes and dark hair. Like that's what comes to my mind's eye when I think of Heather Austin. So we're gonna open this up, and then when you open it up, let's see if we can cover this for now. You're gonna find in here, like, there's this kind of lining that lines the outside each of these shades. I'm not really sure what this is for. There might have been protectants on each of these shades, but I honestly don't remember at this point. But I'm gonna remove this plastic as well. And when you open it, apart from that, there is, the usual plastic kind of that space in between, but there's also this little note in here from Heather. Right, and it says, this collaboration has been a dream come true. I hope this palette makes you as happy as it makes me. Thank you for your love and support. Heather and Adept Cosmetics. So that's really sweet. I feel like this is one of the first times I've ever seen that in one of the palettes. So that's a really sweet touch. But I'm gonna open this. Let's see if I can cover this mirror with something. The mirror does say Heather Austin and Adept Cosmetics on it. I'm gonna cover it up with this Costco receipt. But here we have the shades, and y'all can see it, right? These are like no tea, no shade, right? Like I'm just pointing out because I just reviewed Ali's palette, and I think Heather's palette was first. So I'm not saying like they copied each other or anything, because it's like, well, what other colors of fall? Duh. But this does also have the yellow, the orange, the green, this kind of burgundy shade. But Heather's shade, I think, is a little bit more purple leaning. I think Ali's is a bit more red leaning. So for this palette, I think my favorite in here was a look I did over here. I think those are really stunning. I think when I looked at this, my initial reaction looking at this is like, what a stunning fall palette. Just what a beautiful fall palette. My, preconceptions of this palette was that it was going to be very similar to the Adept palette I had reviewed before. and that palette was it was like the Green Arrow palette, and that's kind of what I was expecting, and I'm feeling a little bit underwhelmed. And I wasn't sure why, but I feel like it's because when I was actually using these, so when I was using the mattes, I'm like, oh my god, this is so fall, what a fall palette. But then when I was using the shimmers, I kept thinking to myself, this feels like a Christmas look. This is giving very Christmas to me. And I think maybe that's why I was a little bit like, I ended up a little bit deflated because I thought I was going to be doing fall looks with this, but I feel like I kind of ended up with more like, I kick-started off my holidays accidentally. So like the matte shades in here, like I said, this is again another case of I don't think there's necessarily any issue with the formula. It's just the colors. Because Adept is quite expensive, so they have very high-end formulas. And I don't remember like having any real issue with the formulas. I'm more talking about just like the colors. So I'm going to just swatch all 4 of these mattes, just so if you wanted to go back to like those videos, that video I just did of Allie Dawson's collab, you can see the difference. And you can immediately tell, like I said before, and I'm not lying when I say that the shades that they did for Allie's palette is some of Ofra's best. That does not mean that the eyeshadows, you know, from that Ofra palette are the best in the world and only God. It's the best for Ofra, but I can tell just by even swatching these that this formula is so much higher end. And look at that, like the swatch is like completely different. I mean, the colors are absolutely different, but they're definitely within that same kind of range. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with Allie's, which is we're gonna go in a second time, do more colors. Heather's orange is more of a brown, and then her yellow is less of a yellow and more of like a green yellow. But you can tell like these swatch so much more different. How pretty. These are definitely so much easier to work with, but this palette is a lot pricier than Allie's collection was. And how pretty. I really, like, again, I see these colors, I see this range, and I'm like, oh my god, Thanksgiving. Like, there's no doubt, absolutely no doubt in my mind. I'm like, this is Thanksgiving, what Thanksgiving colors? I want to swatch my favorite shades in here. Ooh, which I feel like were like Passport and maybe So Excited. I think those were my favorite shimmers in here. I want to just do those shimmers first. Oh my god, I'm looking at the video and this looks so stunning. I'm going to do So Excited. Wow. And then I'm going to do Passport. Passport's a little bit more wet than So Exciting. And they're just so bright and beautiful. How bright and beautiful. So, swatch. Of course the camera dies as I'm swatching. I know this is a shade we've seen before, but this is just so beautiful to me. I really love this purple base with like a gold shimmer. Like, if you haven't watched my channel before, I always talk about how I love just like these incredibly wet, like shimmery shades, and these are definitely that. Now, in terms of the shades that I'm swatching, where I'm like, this reminds me of Christmas, let me swatch a couple of the other shimmer shades. Like, for sure, let's do Scrubs. I don't know if her favorite color is purple, but these shades are very purple leaning. Like, I don't know if that's just her, but this square right here she has in the middle is a very kind of purple kind of vibe. And then I tried these 3 on, and then instantly, like, even though I love these 2 shades, these shades coupled with these other ones, I'm like, these are purple. Like, purple. Like this, if you cover this up over here, I'm like, this feels like a very purple wintry wonderland. And I think that's where I started to get a little bit, like the purple over here, that's fine. Maybe the brown, okay. The green, I'm like, is this Christmas? And then that yellow, it's like, wait a minute, then now it kind of stands out. So like if we cover this up right here, to me this reads very Christmas winter wonderland. And I think that's where my disconnect is. Like, I'm just so confused because I thought I was picking out another beautiful fall palette, and then I start using it and I'm like, oh, purples. A lot of purples. I think I should have picked this out for the winter. And like you can totally, like I can totally see this being a fall to winter palette, absolutely. But I think I was just caught a little bit off guard by the shimmer shades in here. Just so many of them being a lot more like cooler toned. Like I did a beautiful look over here with these four, another look with these four over here, and like I said, I think my favorite look that I did was with these four. I did a separate looks with like So Excited and Scrubs and 0603 with Hey Y'all, purples with purples, and I'm like, these don't feel fall at all. This feels very Christmas. So I think that's my only gripe with this palette. I need to watch her revealing this palette on her channel because I would love to see what she said. I wasn't able to watch her release before I started using this, but I'd love to know how she came to the conclusion for all these purple. There's so many purples. I think purple might be her favorite color. Love the mattes in here. I love the formula of the shimmers. To me, there's just a little bit of a disconnect. I want to know what was her inspiration, because I, as someone who knows nothing about her, I think she's from Texas. She's from like the South, I think. I don't know much about her, so I don't know what her inspiration for this palette is. And maybe I'll understand a little bit more when she explains it. But overall, I was expecting a little bit more, but it's not bad. I think that this is Adept Cosmetics as well, one of the most colorful palettes they've come out with. And some people can disagree. I know that they come out with a lot of like blue and purple palettes, but they tend to be like lighter blues, lighter purples, which is why I really love that Green Arrow inspired palette. So there's a lot of green in there, but I really love green, so of course there's that bias. But I'd love to know, or if you have any more information, if you know something about this palette that I've just completely missed and has gone over my head, please put it down below. As far as I've seen, because I've been checking the Adept Cosmetics website for sales and stuff as we get closer to Black Friday, if you go look on their website, I don't believe this palette is available anymore. I thought I had missed my chance with this palette and the Green Arrow inspired palette, but they ended up coming back for a limited time, and that's when I grabbed these. When I went onto the website yesterday, the day before, this palette's no longer on there. So this is also another palette that you can probably no longer get. If you find it, it might be as a reseller, but I mean, I think this fits right in line with the formula that you expect from Adept Cosmetics. It's very high end, and I hope Heather's like really proud of herself. I know this is not her first collab that she's done, but I think if you had to choose between like this collab and the Unearthly Cosmetics collab, even though I haven't tried it, I almost can guarantee you're going to get such a better formula and experience out of the Adept Cosmetics palette. They definitely put, they put their money where their mouth is. Like, I know it's an expensive palette, but you are getting a like guaranteed amazing product. This is so beautiful. Again, I know I'm late. This palette probably came out 2 or 3 years ago, but congrats, Heather. Like, this palette still is very pretty and very much holds up.